It's the most difficult times or the most difficult places to bring a camera. And so you have to, to risk to be able to go in those dangerous places.
In a Fox 17 News exclusive interview inside the Terrorism Confinement Center, El Salvador's maximum security prison housing some of the world's most dangerous gang members. It's where 3 U.S. Homeland Security planes touched down in March, carrying 261 deported migrants. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was on one of those planes. He's now suing the Trump administration, claiming he was tortured and abused. A Nashville freelance journalist on assignment for Time magazine was there documenting their arrival.
These pictures tell the story bridging the gap that words can't articulate. It's the work of award-winning journalist Philip Holsinger, getting dangerously close to some of the world's most notorious criminals and gang members. While on the tarmac in El Salvador, an ICE agent told Philip to be careful. Some of the Venezuelans had just tried to hijack the plane upon landing.
You can read their body like a book. Rape, murder, dismemberment. I mean, it's all written onto their bodies. Dates and everything. It's crazy.
Sometimes force is used to keep order, guns are drawn, and the migrants are filed off the planes and hauled onto buses, headed for CECOT, the country's Terrorism Confinement Center.
Their eyes are wicked, these men. And that's where I have mixed feelings about the harshness of the treatment. It's that part of me is that how could you treat a person like this any other way except to cage them like an animal with no amenities? But then there's another part that says, people are people, and you have to have some threshold of morality when you're dealing with monsters.
The Trump administration accuses Kilmar Abrego Garcia of being an MS-13 gang member, although this is in dispute. What isn't in dispute is this.
Nothing illegal?
Nothing, sir.
He's the subject of Tennessee's high-profile landmark immigration case. A Nashville federal grand jury indicted Garcia, charging him with 2 felony charges of human smuggling.
He's hauling these people for money.
Garcia arrived at CECOT, El Salvador's maximum security terrorism confinement center, the same day Philip was there documenting the intake process. According to Philip, inmates arrived, many sporting designer clothes. They were booked, processed, stripped naked, and given a uniform. Guards shaved their heads and forced 80 men to a cell. No books, no talking, no phone calls, no visitors. They slept on steel plank bunks, no mats, no sheets, no pillows, and sometimes forced to kneel, shackled with their faces to the ground. Philip, like a fly on the wall, trying to make sense of what he saw. On one hand, America is safer now that these dangerous criminals and murderers have been deported, locked up, and treated accordingly.
Knowing what I know about the gangs, they belong in jail for the rest of their lives. I don't know that you can reform a serial killer.
But he contemplates the right to due process, with some immigrants, while in the U.S. illegally, are not dangerous gang members that deserve the same punishment.
There were outliers that night when the Venezuelans came off the plane. The biggest outlier was that some of these guys were scared to death.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia claims to be one of them. The immigrant living in the U.S. illegally, Abrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to CECOT and eventually returned to Tennessee to stand trial. His lawyers are now claiming prison guards beat and tortured Abrego Garcia during his time in prison.
The biggest concern he had was not so much the physical beatings, the malnutrition, it was the psychological torture of the guards telling him, we're going to throw you in the general population, we're going to throw you in with all those gang members, and they're going to tear you limb from limb. That's really what affected him the most.
Respect due process.
How illegal immigration should be handled has deeply divided the country. What personal rights do these deportees have? Some violent gang members, and where do you draw the line when it comes to keeping America safe?
And I'm not saying this as a political statement, but when I look back at my own country and I see, whether you like President Trump or not, it's a man saying, I'm going to go all the way with this. I'm going to push it to the limits. And if you're a criminal, you're not going to be here. You're going to go to jail, or you're going to be sent back home to your country.
All right, tonight we want to know what you think. Do you agree with the United States sending undocumented immigrants to a prison in El Salvador? 363 people voting on this tonight. 88.4% say yes. 11.6% say no.